So, episode 2, eh?
Mm.
And
Big two.
the big two. Yeah. Well, I mean, the first one was so popular. I mean, how could we not do episode 2?
Yeah. There's been a lot of big twos today.
All
Actually, isn't there?
two people watched it.
All 2 people watched it. Like Luke said, there's been a big story about number 2s
yeah.
today.
Mm. No names.
No names. Nothing to report as of yet.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Just numbers.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about our theory. I say our theory. The theory that we have of trying not to use any of your own energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me then, Luke, what you think or what that is to you, because you seem to get that immediately.
Yeah. Well, I think it happened from when I first started tattooing. Me and Matt obviously both started tattooing together. I mean, we were definitely using our own energy, weren't we?
Oh, yes.
Pretty much panic mode the whole time.
Mhm.
And obviously I enjoyed there's that stuff.
Stomach.
Obviously I loved it and everything like that, but I did feel like I was really like pushing to do stuff, and even with designs, like actually if I felt like something wasn't progressing, I'd really try and push to get new things out and stuff like that. And everything in my life though, I think that kind of is just what people do, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you were just telling me to not be using my own energy, but whatever that means is kind of, well, what it means to me anyway is just if you're reaching for something, if you're really pushing something, it probably means it's not for you to be grasping, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially artwork wise, it's just gonna, if it's you, it's gonna come eventually, isn't it? But yeah, I feel like I've kind of taken that with everything in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't mean that in a lazy way.
No.
of not pushing.
Well, I remember. So the first time I came to the conclusion that this was even a thing. I mean, God, it is a bit of a long story, a bit of a long and weird story, because I didn't really, I still don't really understand what happened or what it was all about. But to go into it briefly, when I was being tattooed before, when I was getting my back tattooed by Jeff Gogway, just a shout out
To our boy, yeah.
to our boy.
West Coast.
I had a day. I'll try and say this story briefly, but it is quite a weird one. So I'm being tattooed. We're about 4-5 hours in, I'd say, and it was just uncomfortable. It wasn't like the worst day ever, but everything was a bit uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable laying on the bench, and my neck was a bit aching, and I don't really like laying on my front and this kind of stuff. And I was trying to relax, and I've tried all the techniques of trying to relax when being tattooed. Tried to distract myself, tried making little quick noises to try and encourage my tattooist to take pity on me, and I tried all the, everything, touching the cold surface of the underside of the bed, trying to feel the cold, and I guess that's just some kind of distraction.
Like Mike today punching himself in the face.
Punching himself in the face, yeah. And then this day I just decided to relax, and I decided to try and not fight at all. Just give in, not concentrate on the pain, but just accept it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just laying there, and I had my eyes closed, and we weren't talking, Jeff was tattooing. And I was just trying to let go of whatever it was that, the tension or whatever, just trying to relax a little bit more, and just trying to breathe and relax. And so I'm laying there, my eyes were closed, and I was aware that there was a pain in the back of my leg, and then there was music playing, and then there was a conversation going on at the reception at the other end of the studio. And in my mind, I don't even know why I was thinking this way, the pain in the leg was me, the music was obviously the music playing, and then there were these other 2 people, and these were all 3 separate things. And then I don't know what happened or whatever, how I managed to relax to maybe a level maximum, but for some reason I relaxed more than I could have imagined, and I was no longer the thing that I thought was me, which was the pain in the leg. So all of a sudden I wasn't any of the things, and I couldn't feel any pain. All the things seemed equal somehow. It's a bit bizarre. I didn't really understand it. And I could literally move away from the bit that I thought was me before, feel no pain. I could come back to the leg, like weirdly in my mind, feel pain, then move away from it again and feel no pain. It was so bizarre. And then, so the last, say, 3 hours of the tattoo were just easy. Like I could literally feel nothing. I was aware that something was touching my leg, but I couldn't feel any pain at all. I can only explain it by saying I wasn't really me. I was just whatever was aware of all the things. But of course, I laid there and I was just trying to think, like, God, how do I, I don't want to lose this feeling. And thinking, God, I had to get tattooed again in 2 days' time. And I was thinking, God, I hope this lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have this for the next whatever. But of course, 2 days later, you're like, oh, well, that's a shame, wasn't it? I had that cool feeling the other day. Anyway, the next day I got tattooed, 8 hours of tattooing. I had that feeling the whole day. Couldn't feel any pain. I mean, I was completely convinced that I could take any pain in the world and it wouldn't hurt me. I also realised completely, this is where it just sounds really bizarre, but I knew for sure that I was the universe and that everything in the universe was absolutely perfect and as it should be. Nothing needed to change, nothing needed to be done. I couldn't even be bothered. I didn't even see the need to have a conversation or talk or argue or anything, which is quite weird because I probably said to you guys before, I was worried about the rest of my life because I was like, how am I going to live my life like this? I don't know how. Being competitive would seem like the most nonsensical thing I could imagine at that point. And I'd only ever been competitive. That's how I'd only ever achieved anything. But that feeling lasted for 2 weeks and then went away. But then you go back, somehow you get sucked back into life and all the other things. And I remember talking to you about it. That was a bit of a long story, I know. But then I realised how there were days when it felt like I was using all my own energy versus using the universe's energy. And that just means, like you were saying, like going with the flow, not pushing anything, not struggling, not whatever, not getting into arguments and altercations with other people. They all feel like, God, I'm using all of my own energy here. And that's when I issued you two with the challenge of trying to go through your lives and use as little of your own energy as possible.
I think I find it hard to describe myself. I'm not the best talker, but it's like a massive game changer for me. Changed every aspect of my life.
You got it immediately though, didn't you?
Yeah, I feel like it was already there, and then it was just kind of like, oh, fuck.
Well, because I remember saying to you, and I think it was you, I don't know if it was you or Matt, but one of you, and I was saying, like, those days when, and I don't know if everyone gets these, let's just assume every tattooist or every artist gets this, but there's days when you get to the end of the day and you don't feel like you even did the tattoo. You feel like it's just something happened to you and you were as amazed as anyone. You just witnessed this thing come alive or this thing happen and you're like, what? What happened there? And those are the days you don't feel tired, you feel energized, if anything.
Yeah, definitely.
Those are the days when you feel like I always just call it, you just use the universe's energy. You didn't use your own. Everything just flows seamlessly and effortlessly. Versus the other days when everything's a struggle and your client's a little bit, he's in pain or he's struggling to, or maybe your conversation's awkward or something's going on and you feel like, God, this is hard work.
Yeah.
And those are the days when you're using your own energy, right?
And I think as well, just knowing about that's a thing in me is almost like the same thing as like if you're looking to buy a new car or something and then you see that same car everywhere on the road, you're like, oh yeah, that's it. It was still there before, but you couldn't see it. I think it's the same thing with this. Not necessarily, I mean, you can kind of tell with other people, but you definitely know yourself if you're using your own energy, and it still slips through.
Well, yeah, it does slip through, but you can feel it now, though, right?
Oh, 100%.
Now that you've become aware.
Immediately as it comes on, it's like, oh, okay, that's that.
Because it just feels like it took some energy out of you, and the other stuff in life doesn't do that, right? So we were saying earlier on, Matt, about so it's a lovely philosophy, like just trying to use as little of your own energy as possible.
Trying, just
trying to knock out the word, obviously.
No, that's the opposite.
But challenging yourself, like how much can you just give in? How much can you let go, and just be a person? And we were saying earlier on about how does that, for you then, for example, how does that translate into being creative, or in terms of tattooing or something like that?
Well, in art and what we do, the main objective of it is to express yourself, I think anyway.
It's pretty poncy, wasn't it? No, but it is.
Well done though. Like,
yeah, of course, you know
poncy
it.
as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're never going to be able to fully express yourself without with using energy that isn't you.
So like trying to be fake, trying to be something, or trying.
Trying. When you're trying to make art, when you're trying to do anything, you're not really doing it.
Which is hard though, right? Because then so we'll say like, okay, so
sounds counterproductive. But it's
yeah,
not.
so then you're just like, oh, just sit back and let it come. I mean, that's not necessarily what you're doing, is it? But you're not trying to force anything. You're not trying to, like a case in point for me. We'd always just say like, don't force anything in life at all.
Yeah.
Take what feels like it's right there in front of you, like the right time, everything like that. Right? You're not reaching for stuff. You're not wanting anything particularly. You're just taking advantage of what the world or what life has just offered you at that moment, right? And so I was going to say, a case in point is I did a design yesterday for somebody for a convention at the weekend, and it's extremely frustrating when people see the design and then they had an expectation of that design, and it isn't what they thought it might be. Not based on their consultation, because he's just like, do whatever you want, which doesn't really often mean do whatever you want. But so, it's okay, and it worked out, and he just needed a minute to process that it was a little bit different. And so, and it's really difficult to explain to people, but I don't design things I don't try and make the design. I just go with, and I think you're the same, I just go with whatever feels, like at that time when I sit down to do the design, this feels like a thing I want to put in it. This is a collaboration design. Leanne does a part of it. We get the stuff together, and then we just start building on that. For some reason, I'm emotionally, like, I just look at a bunch of pictures or a bunch of reference I've got, and I'm like, this just feels like this is the one. And then she's got this picture of a flower or whatever the thing that she's put in there. And then, because they just feel like the right elements, and then we just work them together and see how that comes out. So I'm often shocked at how it comes out. But that guy's getting his tattoo. He's not getting a version of one of the ones I've done before, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess I spoke to you the other day, just saying that I feel like my work is changing. I feel weird even saying, like, breaking it down as my artwork's changing, because it's not my artwork, is it? It's everything. It's you. I guess we try to not like break everything down into the same category, into categories, just have it as one piece. But I feel like things are changing with my tattooing, and I don't even necessarily care what it looks like, because I feel like I haven't got control over that. I don't want to have control over it. Whatever it is, that's what I look like. We were saying it's like your face, it's just what it is. I'm not going to change it. I feel like it's the same with my work. If I could, I mean, it'd be better for everyone, really, wouldn't it? Yeah. Better than a pikey face. I feel like that's my work, though, pikey work. That I don't.
No, but you said that the other day, didn't you? You said you felt like the work that you did looks like you. Or whatever. It felt like this is what I feel like. The work somehow represents.
Yeah, and I've got no right to go in there and try and change it, because it's just what I am, I think. So I feel like it's only just getting there now, though. I don't know if it feels like it's there. I don't mean there like, I've done it. I mean, I feel like I'm on the right track.
Yeah, you're definitely on the right track. Isn't that funny how it feels like it's effortless when you do it that way? You just it feels like no effort needed. You just let it be you.
Yeah.
And see what comes naturally to you.
But I think it's a similar way. Like I remember you saying, I think it was about Arnold Schwarzenegger, that maybe a new guy came into the gym and like done calf raises with 100 more kilo than everybody else, and everyone was like, oh fuck, I didn't know that was even a thing, and now he's done it, everyone else can jump on it. I think it's a similar thing, seeing like you and Leanne have actually figured yourself out and done that next step. It's kind of like, oh okay, that's a thing that you can do, so it's almost like maybe not a quicker thing, but you know it's possible.
Yeah, but that's the same with anything, like this sort of, like you said, that thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger, or the guy breaks a 4-minute mile and then everyone else can break a 4-minute mile. Not everyone, but you know what I mean. It gets broken quite a lot again after that quickly, because just people now understand, it can be done. And so once they recognise that it can be done, it makes it a lot easier when psychologically you know that.
definitely.
I don't think I explained that well, but
No, I get it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think. I don't know what I think. I think with you guys, obviously, you are miles ahead in your careers than Luke and I are. But I like the iron sharpens iron aspect of the shop. Everyone's kind of raising the bar each time.
lowering the bar.
Lowering the bar, wherever you want to put the bar. And I think, you know, when you watch you and Leanne and Luke or whoever, express something in a design that's beautiful and it's just pure and it's effortless, that kind of makes you think every time to remind yourself to keep maintaining that aspect in every aspect of your life. Not just
But like we're saying, within the theme of what we're talking about, it isn't. You don't have to try to do that. You don't have to do more to do that. It's not about getting. I mean, of course, it is a little bit about better technique, but that just comes over time. That just comes with being diligent and every time trying your hardest.
Yeah.
If every time you draw a picture, you try and make it look the most like you want it to look, the techniques would just happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that kind of thing, as long as you're
Conscientious.
yeah, as long as you're trying hard, which seems bizarre because you're not trying hard, you're just doing what you love.
I always
as long as you truly love it, then
I tell my
that just
customers
comes along.
if you like you say, if you truly love something, but I say, like, do a thing, just do a thing, or don't do a thing. You've only got those two options.
But do it, like, if you choose the things you love. Well, like, so we had the conversation the other day with Mike when he was asking, I don't know why he thought I might know, what the meaning of life was. And then I read a thing a few days later where they were saying, why does it have to have a meaning? You know, trying to give it a meaning, and that is using your own energy.
Yeah.
Just be, just let it, you know, like we're saying, just take whatever life gives you when it gives it to you, be grateful. Don't look too far to the future, don't worry about what's happened in the past, just live now. All sounds a bit poncy, but we are recently converted to being poncy. Right?
It's trying to
Embracing it.
But yeah, like, why have a point? I forget the quote, but it was like, trees don't have a point. I don't care about the point of their existence, they just exist. And they exist perfectly without having to worry about that. Trees have nailed using none of their own energy, haven't they?
Yeah.
They seem like they're pretty awesome, aren't they?
Yeah, the more you chase a meaning of life, which is a ridiculous notion, I think.
That's just
the
telling a
more
story,
you
right?
Escape it. Yeah, you're telling a story. Yeah, you're just. I'm the guy searching for the meaning of life. I'm the guy that is doing something else. I don't know. It's a bit of a silly notion. Just do a thing. If you love it, if you don't love it, then
Define what you love and then express yourself through that.
Yeah, and
That's it,
express
isn't it?
yourself through the thing
And
you
then
love.
you don't really have to work anymore, do you?
No.
Yeah.
Well, kind of going back to the Techers thing, sort of thing. Do you know Alyssa Monks, the New York painter?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She used to do these, like, she completely got her Techers up, like, was world famous of just doing these perfect portraits, look like photographs, and they were amazing in a way of like just technique wise, but they didn't really have much to them, for me anyway. Like, and I saw this article on her recently, and her mum had cancer, so she had to look after her, and had like a few years or a couple of years, whatever it was, not painting. Eventually her mum died, and she went back to her studio and just kind of had no interest in painting anymore, and eventually kind of eased herself back in and was trying to do the stuff that she normally did, and just wasn't having it. But the Techers was already there, so once she actually realised she wanted to do some stuff that was actually her, I guess, it was really cool looking stuff. Like, she went out into the woods and painted with a bit of mud and things like that. So that's interesting for what you were saying last time, wasn't it? That you want to try and get your techniques up this year.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to try.
Yeah, but like we always said before that. I'm sorry to butt in on you.
Yeah.
But like we just said, that will happen if you turn up every day and give the best account of yourself. Your technique will just get there. But I've said it forever. Like, people want to they think it's all about technique, and of course it is to a certain degree. But if you ignore the other side of it, which is the expression side, the bit where you're actually trying to figure out who you are and express that, which surely if you're trying to be an artist, that is the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why are you doing it? If you don't have anything to express, maybe you could just do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe your expression is like great technique. Maybe you can express yourself with that. Like that's a bit different. But anyway, I lost my train of thought there.
Yeah.
But no, it's gone. This is what happens when you get old. Yeah, but don't. Yeah, I know, I get it. I remember now, jeez. But then, so don't ignore that. Thinking I need to get all my techers up now, and then I'll just start paying into that category later.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you still surely trying to figure out who you are. You're still trying to be creative. You know, you're being creative by, like the technique takes care of itself. Like you said, as long as you're diligent with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two categories. There's the technique and then there's the expression side. And so surely you don't want to leave that category empty, really, do you?
Yeah, definitely.
But it's an easy category. You just have to do what feels awesome at that time.
Well,
whatever feels like the right
yeah.
thing, just go with that.
That was
Right?
the thing I found interesting with her. Is I completely overlooked her work and was like, oh, it's one of them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked back a few years because I looked at it when I was in art college, and I looked back recently, just like, I wonder what she's up to.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, holy shit, okay. So
But how
she
brilliant.
did have some stuff in her.
How brilliant when you let
She
go
got
of
it
that,
out.
though.
Yeah.
That's funny. So I was talking to my nephew yesterday about running, and he came second in his cross country, and I forget what he was talking about it, but he said he's much better when he can not have pressure on him doing it. When running across country is not even his thing, football's his thing. And I was like, why do you have pressure? Why don't you do it? Because all of this stuff is really to make your football better. You know, like why are you putting pressure on? And maybe it's the same with art. Maybe people put too much pressure on rather than understanding you just got to let it be. You know, maybe the pressure is to earn money or to get some status or I don't know, whatever it is. You know, probably to earn money. But I feel like if you let it be what it's going to be, it's probably going to earn you more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, once you've learned to express yourself properly like that, you're going to find more people like you attracted to you.
Yeah.
Because it's something real that, you know, they attach themselves to.
Yeah, it's funny learning jiu-jitsu is, you know, you're learning a martial art. You know, people express themselves.
Yeah.
So when you get to that black belt level or any level, you express yourself through the way
Through
that
the
you
techniques.
fight. Yeah, fight. Yeah.
Well, you fart. Some people do.
Some people are talented like that.
By the way you fight. And I feel like as a white belt, even though my techniques are all over the place.
Piss poor?
Piss poor, yes. As Luke's flexibility
I
is.
lose shoulder flexibility. Yeah.
Even though the techniques are bad, all I have to do is keep showing up every day and train with good people and like you say, be diligent about those techniques, and they'll come eventually. But to express myself whilst I'm fighting is
The ultimate goal.
the ultimate goal. Yeah.
As our Jesus Bruce Lee
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah. So I think that's about it, don't you?
I think so.
I think
Yeah.
We've covered that neatly.
Yeah.
I think we've used too much energy,
Should we
Talking about that.
should we give a preview, a touch on what we're doing next time, or
and that is
was it no
talking more nonsense.
talking more bollocks? No, we were talking about the Bukowski stuff, weren't I?
Oh yeah. So next.
No compromise. That's
Yeah. So next week on Talking Bollocks, we should be talking about how we finally got out of the year of Johnny Cash, which seems to have been lingering for a couple of years, and we're now in the year of no compromise.
Which
Yeah.
is very similar to the year of Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Very, very
very
similar.
similar.
We'll
Yeah.
explain more in our next
Yeah.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
There you go. In a bit.
Right, in a bit.
Oh. Bollocks.